David DeGuzman inside the NBC4 Digital Center for the latest edition of the Digital Sports Roundtable. Hey, the gang's all back here. We're joined by Whitney Harding and Joe Nugent. Somehow found his way to Columbus in between all the travel he's done. Guys, nice to see you all again. First time in the new year, we're all in the same place, which is quite rare. Obviously, we're talking about Ohio State and getting ready for the national championship. For this roundtable, we'll kind of go big picture here as to looking at how they got here, because there were a couple times this season we weren't sure this weekend would even be possible, but here we are. Guys, when you look at the path it took to get here, the loss to Oregon, the loss to Michigan, the pain that came out of that, what did it take for Ohio State to make it to the final week of the regulars of the entire college football season?
I think it took Ohio State to simply be Ohio State,
I agree.
like in a sense, of sort of maximizing what they are and what this roster was put together in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a year ago at this time, they just didn't get there until they. I don't want to say they didn't get there until they had to get there, because that kind of feels like they took a different approach. I mean, obviously they worked hard at it the whole way, but there is something to be said about learning about yourself throughout a season and then making those corrections.
One thing I love that Ryan Day said, even before they went into the Cotton Bowl, was that the cool thing about the expanded playoff is it has allowed you to make a couple mistakes during the season that you can then learn and grow from. And I think that's exactly what happened. I mean, in past seasons, there was always this, oh gosh, you can't lose one game because then you're not going to make it past. Now, granted, you still aren't supposed to lose a game, but at least it allowed them the ability to really learn from those mistakes and clearly make the changes that were necessary. And like you said, just lean into who you are.
And these are two teams that both lost games, right?
Bad losses.
That's
losses.
Right?
Was Northern Illinois?
Yeah. Yes. And that's what's the beauty of this expanded playoff is it's neither of these teams would have been in a 4-team playoff. When the 4-team playoff was created, Ohio State would not have been in the BCS championship. So it really has kind of worked, I guess you can say. Yes, there needs to be some fixing, I think. I mean, seeding was nuts. But we've gotten to a place where two teams with amazing defenses, let's face it, defenses win championships, people say it, have gotten to this point.
Great for bringing that up of what Ryan Day said, Whitney, because that teased me up for what I'm about to show you. Ryan Day soundbite from this past weekend, just talking about how he was able to take advantage of the 12-team playoff and knowing that this team was going to play 15, 16 games in the season. So let's hear from Ryan.
We looked at a lot of different things and metrics about playing this many games, playing our 16th game, what that was going to be like. We knew it was going to be a little bit of a battle of attrition at times. So depth was certainly a critical part of roster management and talent acquisition, but also how we practice, how we play. And so we've taken all those things into consideration so that we're still really, really fresh going into the end of the season.
So this is a team that was well prepared for what's to come. They knew that this 12-team playoff was coming. I remember when I first got here, the mindset was we need to prepare for 15, 16 games to play. When you talk about personnel and depth of this team, how was this team able to overcome a lot of obstacles from the many injuries that they went through to, just finding the right places to be for a lot of these players?
Well, and that's where that extended playoff comes into form, because look at the offensive line. I mean, they wouldn't have had the, not openness, but the freedom to tweak and work and fix and make it happen with the injuries if, they couldn't lose any games. There'd been so much more pressure on perfection. And since there wasn't as much pressure on perfection, that line was able to gel, and look now, they're amazing again.
And I think rotating, not necessarily because they have to on the offensive line or because that's the best route, but rotating throughout the season, getting the starters out earlier, playing from the huddle, which of course eats up a lot of time, right? I mean, Ohio State's offense
would have thought they would do that.
Yeah, but it was all part of the long-term plan of being in the huddle. This offense had the least amount of snaps going into the semis of the 4 teams, so, the least amount of wear and tear.
Yeah.
Not only, though, does that help the offense? But Jim Knowles talked about how it helps the defense too.
I mean, remember when they were crazy because they brought in Quinshon Judkins because they had a Travion Henderson? Look how
are they going to share the ball? What?
Look how brilliant it looks now. And I think Chip Kelly talked about it today. The numbers are almost identical for both guys. And it doesn't really feel like either guy has been hindered in any way, and they are fresh going into game number 16.
They were the only two offensive players to score a touchdown against Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
wild.
And one was a bruiser touchdown, the other was pure speed. And if you are tired and gassed at the end of a season, you can't do either of those things.
Last topic I want to bring up, just, put Jeremiah Smith aside for a second, put the people who are expected to return aside for a second. The senior class, I think, has been very special. And you have a guy like Will Howard, who's only been here for a year. Here's what he had to say after the Cotton Bowl victory on the one regret he has from this entire season.
The thing that hurts me about this, the only thing that I wish I could go back and do different about my time here is I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time with Coach Day. I mean, I've gotten so much better because of him. I've gotten, to be so close with guys like Jack and guys like Emeka and guys like, Seth and all these guys that, I only have 1 year with them.
He wishes he could have spent more time, and as a fan, I can only imagine what would have happened, maybe. But then again, you think about all the great quarterbacks that have come through this program. I mean, where would he have fit? So I think the timing was just perfect. Extending it out to the senior class in general. Of course, you talk about like a guy like Jack Sawyer in here too. And then you have guys like Mech. I mean, they still have a game to play. There's still a job to be done. But what do you think is the legacy of the senior class?
Well, hopefully it's a national championship. I think the fact that so many of these guys came back because they weren't happy with the way it ended last year against Michigan, against Missouri, spoke volumes about their commitment to Ohio State, their care for the program. In a lot of ways, they put their teammates in front of them. Like, sure, with NIL, yes, they're not like poor or anything like that, but there's more money to be made in professional football, and
you're not taking classes. You're
exactly.
You're not going to do.
You don't have to do homework anymore,
right? Exactly, that kind of homework anyway. But yeah, I know it's true. And one thing that Chip Kelly also talked about today that I thought was so neat was he's talking about just like how good kids or young men all of these guys are. And you think about the stuff that we have to cover. We're very lucky that we don't have to cover like these. We don't have to check like police blotters. We don't have to do these things that sometimes when you cover athletes, you have to do. And that to me is where Will is so prime for what he's done here. Is they could have gotten any transfer quarterback probably with the money. Maybe Miami could have beat them out for Cam Ward. Who knows? And people I know when they took Will said, well, he doesn't have the strongest arm, or he isn't this, or he isn't that. He was the perfect fit for what this team needed. And it wasn't just the quarterbacking, because let's face it, he learned that throughout the year. He just needed to be simple and consistent. They needed Will Howard to make this happen. It's so true. He was the perfect fit for this team.
We've covered so many of their stories over these last few months, and the thing that struck me with what Ryan said is that the story needs to be told, but it can only be told if they win. What's funny is that we can tell their stories all they want, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a better story if they win. So we're going to see what they do in Atlanta.
We still talk about Cardale Jones. Why? Because they won.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it was a great story.
And that's the crazy thing, too. You have something as awesome of a moment like Jack Sawyer had, but it doesn't matter if they don't win it all. So
it's like he had that amazing interception against Michigan.
Right.
And no one was able to talk about it.
I mean, I remember
it. Was maybe the greatest play of the season.
Right. Exactly.
That's why I was so glad he got that moment in that game.
We're going to talk more about the game itself, Notre Dame, once Joe gets over to Atlanta, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it. But Joe, safe travels. Just some quick housekeeping. We do have a Run for the Championship special airing on Saturday at 7 o'clock, so you can watch that. Of course, we will have all the coverage you need here on NBC4i.com and on air. Until next time, I'm David DeGuzman for Whitney Harding and Joe Nugent. We will see you next time.